Hi, I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. If you do these practices with me, you know that usually I start standing. We start standing. That is not going to be the case today. So here I am seated on my yoga mat, but I could easily be seated on my living room rug. So if you don't have a yoga mat, use a rug, a carpeted area. That will work just fine. I also have 2 yoga blocks. Those can be substituted by using 2 thick books. And there'll be times where I cue you, in case it's helpful, to go to the wall and use that as an assist for balance, or even the arm of your sofa. So we get to use the parts of our house as our yoga props frequently. We'll start today, believe it or not, the way that we usually end our practice. So the end is where we start from, you might say, in a shavasana. So as we lie down, make it comfortable and let it be a place where we can land, as we often do, standing. So when we lie down, I often put my feet as wide as my mat, let my knees knock in on each other, and then shimmy one shoulder blade and the other underneath. This is a perfect place to begin. Maybe it feels okay to straighten your legs, and then if you're comfortable with it, close your eyes. We're turning the arrows of attention inward. One wonderful benefit to lying down on the ground is that you can feel your back ribs in a way that you probably can't when they're in midair. So when you fill your lungs, it's almost like you've got a set of gills and you feel them widen. And when you empty your lungs, your set of gills narrows. Just play with that for a second. If it's doable, stay with your gills, but breathe in and out through your nose. If that's not working, just keep breathing any way that you can, aware of your gills. Now, cactus your arms out to the side and bend your knees if they're not already. Scoot your hips to the left and gently spill your knees over to the right. So a twist, but let's keep breathing even as we twist. And then just bring yourself through center. And now scoot your hips over to the right and let your knees spill over to the left, and pause. There'll be little sticky spots that get revealed in our twists. We do our best to soften them, if you will, with our exhales in particular. We're not holding our breath. We're just holding a few poses as we go. Come back to center. Plant your feet hip distance, and then just roll up and hold the backs of your legs. As you do that, you're welcome to use your hands on the backs of your legs the whole time. It could be that you prefer a hand behind your head or even both hands behind your head. When we inhale, we lie back down on the ground, and so you can just slide your hands down. When we exhale, we roll up carefully, and holding the backs of our thighs can be useful. I don't want this to hurt your neck. We inhale and slide back, and then we exhale and slide up. Inhale, sliding down, neck gets a break, and then exhale, sliding up. Inhale, sliding down. You might slide your hands on the tops of your thighs. When we exhale, we slide our hands up like we're going to cap our knees, and then we inhale and lie back. We'll do that 3 more times. And if your tempo is different than mine, no worries, all good. Now lie down, Keep your head, the back of your head on your mat, and plant your palms flat. Once you do that, become aware of your shoulder blades against the ground. And instead of letting them wing out to the side, which mine are doing now, and maybe yours are too, tuck them underneath you so they feel flat against the ground. Keep pressing into your palms. Let your shoulder blades remain where they are, and lift your hips up. They don't have to go very high. It's like the opposite of when we slid our hands up our legs. It's what's called hip extension. And then just lower that down, and we'll slowly find that position 2 more times. So pressing, making sure shoulder blades are underneath us, and then just lifting our hips up into an easy bridge. And we lower back down. 1 more time, exactly like that. We lift our hips up. And we lower our hips down. Now, take your hands to the backs of your legs and lift yourself up for a moment. And then just cross right ankle on top of left thigh. Once you do that, take your left hand on your outer right waist and feel those muscles. Then take this left hand behind your head. Take your right hand and feel the left side of your body. Both sets of what are called obliques are going to work in this, but you'll notice it with your right hand on your left ribs. We'll just come upright and a tiny little bit of a turn towards our right leg, and then we lie down and give our neck a break. Left elbow stays wide. We'll come up and take a little twist, and then lie back down. Make sure you're not tugging your hand on your neck. It's happening in those muscles that you're feeling under your hand. 1 more time, up and we turn. Then we'll lower down and let our head relax, and either stay like this for a stretch or take our right hand and hold our left hamstring, possibly hold our left shin. We're not here long. This is a pose we usually do much later in our practice, so just take note of what it feels like now. We'll release this onto our mat and then slide our hands up the backs of our legs, just so it's easier to see. Left ankle on top of right thigh, and then lie your head down. Your right hand can just cop a feel over on your left ribs. They will be working too, but it is our left hand on our right ribs, our right waist would be more appropriate, and then right hand behind your head. This is not a big move, it's little. We come up and we turn from these waist muscles, and then we lie our head down. We'll exhale, come up and twist, and inhale, lie down, just do the best that you can. Exhale, come up and twist, and then inhale and lie down. We'll do that 1 more time. Exhale. And this time when we lie down, it becomes a stretch, and this could be plenty. Maybe left hand through the space and you hold your right hamstring. It's possible that you reach through and hold your right shin. And we pause just a few moments to stretch here. Carefully release. Tippy's making herself known. Place your left foot down on the ground and roll over to your right side. Slowly bring yourself up to your hands and knees. We have wild turkeys outside and they're making a lot of noise right now, so Tippy's making noise right back at them. So here we are on our hands and knees. Let's use this to plant our hands onto our mat, oomph into our arms so we are not collapsed in between our shoulder blades. And we can actually feel some of that core work we just did in a more functional way. Step your right foot back so you're flirting with a plank. And then let's tap into that core work we had the benefit of doing as we step our left leg into a plank. We won't be here all that long. And then we'll lower our left knee and our right knee, and we'll come up and just shake out our wrists for a second. Let's do a little plank flirt on the second side. So first, shoulders are over wrists, our hands are spread wide, and we step our left foot back and flirt with a plank. We oomph into our arms, feel the core work we did, step our right foot into plank position. 2 moments here. If you want, you can bring your knees down like a kickstand for a more modified plank position. Let's bring our knees down. Give ourselves a moment to shake our wrists. And then walk your hands a little bit further forward and press the ground away actively with your hands and your arms. I've got my toes curled under, and I'm going to walk my feet, as wide as my mat, and imagine a hook in my tailbone. So we push the ground away actively and come into our first down dog from here. We're still pretty happy about that core work we did. We could feel evidence of it. Front body, side body, remember where your hands were? And even back body now. Walk your feet to your hands. We step hip distance to the front edge of our mat, and then we'll slide our hands up to our shins, ankles, maybe even up to our thighs. And we'll exhale and fold in, but when we fold, it's not a rounding fold. It's a long spine bow. Then inhale, slowly rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V. Let's take a moment to stand and make sure that we're not dizzy. We started on the floor. That's not always how we start, so let's honor that. And stand here in our mountain pose and give ourselves a moment to feel steady. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, a V. Then exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands to your thighs or your shins or your ankles. Inhale, glide those hands up and then bend your knees as deeply as you need to get your palms flat. Remember how we built this from the ground up? Push the ground away as you step back and find the hook in your tailbone that takes you to a down dog. We'll shift from down dog into plank, shoulders over our wrists, and then find the hook in our tailbone and go back to down dog. Continue pushing the ground away. Shift it to plank, shoulders over wrists, and make your way to down dog, really active as we push the ground away. One more time we come to plank, and this time all of us will bring our knees down like a kickstand. Keep pushing the ground away, make sure that we're not collapsed in between our shoulder blades, and we'll use our core strength that we found at the beginning of the practice to slowly bend our elbows and come all the way down onto our belly. Once we're there, uncurl your toes. Bring your arms alongside you. Let your forearms be parallel to the two long edges of your mat in a Sphinx pose. And press into the tops of your feet until your kneecaps come off your mat. Traction your elbows towards you. We'll feel our heart move through the gateway of our arms. We want to take note that this is not us overusing our neck. This is absolutely us feeling our shoulder blades on our back, like we talked about when we did a bridge pose. Remember I said, this is pretty cool because we can feel the ground and where our shoulder blades are. Maybe a little bit of the ghost of that experience lives on as you bring the shoulder blades towards each other. Remember this feeling and lower down. Slide your hands right next to your ribs and come into Cobra, which is basically Sphinx, but now with our hands relocated. This becomes even more tempting to use our chin. Let's not. Let's keep our chin parallel to the ground. And then lower down, curl your toes under. We get to sport that core work that we started with as we come in one piece to all fours. And then we'll find the hook in our tailbone and push the ground away to come to down dog. From down dog, walk your feet forward to your hands. Feet are hip distance and parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Glide your hands down, exhale, we fold. And then inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V. We stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. Let's flow. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs, shins, or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, bend your knees deeply, palms flat, step to down dog and push the ground away, right away. Shift shoulders over wrists in our plank, and then we put our kickstand down, use our core work and push the ground away as we lower to our bellies. Uncurl your toes and either Sphinx pose or Cobra, lower down, curl your toes under. In one chunk we come to all fours, and the hook in our tailbone takes our hips up and back into down dog. Walk your feet forward to your hands, let them be hip distance and parallel. Slide your hands up, inhale, lift your heart. Slide your hands down, exhale, fold in. Then inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, a V, and we stand in our mountain with our palms facing out. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs or shins or ankles. Slide your hands up, inhale, palms go flat, we push the ground away and step to down dog with our tailbone high. Come to plank, shoulders over wrists, bring your knees down, keep pushing the ground away, core nice and strong as we lower to our belly and then uncurl your toes into cobra or sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes back under in one piece. We come to all fours, and then we make our way to down dog, letting our tailbone hook take us up and back. Walk your feet forward to your hands, feet are hip distance in parallel. Glide your hands up, inhale. Slide your hands down, exhale. Then inhale, rise, reach thumbs to the sky, a V, and we stand into our mountain. We'll add some friends to this flow. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to thighs, shins, or ankles. Glide your hands up, inhale, step to down dog, pushing the ground away as we go. We'll lift our right leg back behind us and then step that right foot forward, and it might help to help it along. Reach over and find your two books and frame that right foot with your tall blocks or books. Inch your right foot over to the right so we don't have a feeling of standing on a tightrope. Bend your back knee a bit and come upright, thumbs to the sky, a V in a crescent pose. Some of us will start to straighten our back leg a little bit or quite a bit. That's not a goal, it's just an option. Then return your hands to your blocks, move them off the side of your mat, step to a down dog and push the ground away. Option to stay here or bring your knees to your mat for a rest, or come to plank, shoulders over wrists, and bring your knees down. Lower all the way onto your belly. Uncurl your toes as we come into a cobra pose, and then lower down and in one piece come to all fours, and then lift your hips up and back into your down dog. Lift your left leg back behind you. You can use that velocity to step it through. If it doesn't quite get there, help it along. Bring your two blocks to frame that left foot and inch your left foot over to the left just a little, so again, we're not riding a tightrope here. Bend your right knee, your back knee, and come upright with this recipe. And we've got our thumbs to the sky. Some of us will start to work that back leg straight. If it's pitching us forward or dumping us into our back, that's not something we want to go too far with. Then bring your hands to your blocks. Move those blocks out of the way. Step it into downward facing dog. Push the ground away here in down dog. Lift your right leg back behind you. Step that right foot forward. Help it along if it's helpful. Take your two blocks, frame your right foot, inch that right foot over to the right, and this time begin to straighten your front leg and turn your back foot flat in a pyramid pose stretch. We draw our right hip back and our left hip forward, and we're looking to create the longest spine that we can here. You might even say we're using our core work all over again here. 3 moments. To come out of it, bend your front knee and spin on your back toes. Move your blocks out of the way, palms flat for down dog. Again, you have the option to bring your knees down and take a little break, or if you want to keep flowing, come into plank and bring your knees down, lower onto your belly, uncurl your toes into cobra or sphinx pose. Lower down, curl your toes under in one chunk, all fours, and then the hook in our tailbone takes us to down dog, where our left leg will lift and step forward and you help it along. Our blocks come into the mix as we frame that left leg, and we'll straighten our front leg and turn our right foot flat. We're trying not to let that left hip swing out to the left, so design it slowly. See what you need. We'd like a long spine, and our tall blocks are helpful so that hinge at our hip is where the fold happens, not a rounding of our spine. let's take a moment or two here. Then move your blocks and step back to down dog. One more time, lift your right leg behind you, step your right foot forward, turn your back foot flat as you bring your two blocks on either side of you, and this time, step this right foot over to the left a little bit. It can be forearm across your thigh and left hand on your hip, so right forearm across your thigh and left hand on your hip is a great way to build a side angle pose, or it could be right hand on your tall block, and then if it feels nice, left arm thumb to the sky. 3 moments. To come out of this one, spin on your back toes and bring your left hand onto your block. Scoot both blocks out of the way, palms flat, down dog. Option to stay in down dog or take one more of these sun salutations, coming into plank, bringing our knees to our mat and lowering to our belly. Uncurl your toes into a cobra pose and then lower down. On all fours we go, and then our hips take us up and back to our down dog. Left leg lifts behind us, and then we'll step that through and trot our two blocks into the mix to help us set up for side angle this time. So back foot flat with the bent front knee. That left leg will walk over to the right a little bit, and we can take our left forearm across our thigh and our right hand on our hip, and that's a beautiful design. We might take our left hand on our tall block and our right arm up to the sky. Remember, we're not letting that left hip swing out behind us, and we take just a moment or two here. Then carefully unwind and spin on your back toes. Scoot your two blocks off to the side, palms flat, down dog. Listen carefully. Right leg lifts behind you. And this time, when you step it through, lower your back knee. We're starting to design a single pigeon, and I'm a big fan of using a prop as you do that. So I sit my right sit bone on my block and kind of hit a little side saddle here. We'll move this in a different direction, but starting here will be good for all of us and our right knee. If this doesn't feel great for your right knee, lie on your back and do that ankle on top of knee that we did at the very beginning of our practice together. I like to take a tall block out in front of me and use it to keep my spine long. And you can bend that right knee as deeply as you need to. Curl your back toes, your left toes under. Pick up that back knee just a little and turn that left thigh to face the ground as best you can. This is going to look different on all of us. If it feels like a hip stretch on your right side and a hip flexor stretch on your left side, you have arrived. Let's get still and quiet in this shape. To dismount, lean it so that you've got that side saddle feel. And I move this tall block out of my way, bend my back knee. If you want to, you can take yourself to a down dog to set it up the same way, or just maneuver from here on all fours. If you're doing it from down dog, left leg lifts, and then you'll step it through, lower your back knee, and basically join those who have found their little side saddle seat on the left side. So starting here is totally great. And then we'll see where it goes, right? So curl your back toes under and think about spinning your right thigh towards the ground. You might situate a tall block out in front of you, and then a stretch into your left hip and into your right hip flexor is what we're after. And let's pause here. Then to dismount this side, just lean a little bit more to your left and bend your back knee. That should make room for you to come out of it. And as we come to all fours, we'll lie down on our back. And once we lie down on our back, feet hip distance, slide your shoulder blades underneath you, just like we did at the very beginning, palms flat, lift up, bridge pose. My goodness, the end is where we start from. Maybe you interlace your hands and snuggle your shoulder blades even more underneath you here for just a single bridge this time. And then lower your hips to your mat and scoot your hips to the right. Let your knees spill to the left. You might cross your right knee over your left knee this time. Hey, we did this at the beginning too. Does it kind of feel a little bit different now? Then we come to center, and you'll scoot your hips left and let your knees drop right. Left knee might cross over right knee, and we pause and twist. Then we come back down the middle and snuggle our shoulder blades underneath us. Walk your feet as wide as your mat, remember? Let your knees knock knee in on each other. Just lift your hips an inch. Lower them back down. This might be where you spend your Shavasana final meditation. If it feels nice to straighten your legs and let your feet flop open, off you'll go. If you're comfortable with closed eyes, let your eyes close. You might even cover your eyes or cover your body. And then we let ourselves have our rest and digest. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation for as long as you would like. If you're ready, bend your knees and place your feet on your mat. Roll to either side slowly. Bring yourself up to any comfortable way to sit. And then let's place our hands on our heart. A gesture of gratitude. Grateful that we have the health to do this practice, the opportunity to come together and do this. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to us doing this again together soon.